Heavy is one of, if not the weakest classes in Team Fortress 2. Now, I know that's a very bold statement for me to be making. I mean, we're talking about the tankiest class in the entire game here. But hear me out, give me a listen. So, I don't have many hours on Heavy. In fact, it's my least played class. But I have Heavy friends, so I'm pretty much qualified to talk about this. So, why is the Heavy so weak? Well, let's take a look at his weapons for a second, excluding the reskins. So, for his primary, he has the stock, of course, the Tomislav, the I just got killed by a Lime Scout, the mobile sentry gun, and, this thing. We'll talk more about that one later. And for his secondary, he has a shotgun, the panic attack, the family business, as well as his lunchbox secondaries, some of them being better than others. And for his melee, he has the fists, the KGB, the GRU, the Warrior Spirit, the Fist of Steel, the Eviction Notice, and the Holiday Punch. Heavy has a large plethora of weapons, but most of them are completely overshadowed by the meta, which would be the minigun and the Tomislav. And I guess the Brass Beast and MBM. As a little example, let's take a look at these two miniguns right here. The Natasha and the Hulong Dragon. And there's one reason, and one reason alone, why these two weapons have been completely overshadowed. And that's because they're only good in specific situations against specific classes. Besides for the Hulong Heater, that's just never useful. Ever. I mean, seriously, it's supposed to counter Spy, but the entire idea of the Hulong Heater is invalidated by the existence of the spacebar. I mean, for real, whose idea was that? It's a tiny little flame around your feet. That's not worth the reduced damage and the ammo it eats up. Have you seen how fast it loses ammo? It's crazy. Also, apparently it does 25% more damage against burning players. Did you know that? I sure didn't. The more you know, I guess. So, let's fix the Hulong Heater, shall we? Alright, so first off, this ammo consumption, we don't need that toxicity in here, no sir. Okay, and now the ring around the flames, or the ring of flames while spun up, that's just completely useless. So I'm just gonna get rid of that. And the 25% damage bonus versus burning players, like, when does that ever become useful? I've never even used that. To be fair, I don't really play Heavy that much, but I've never seen anyone use that either. Okay, so we'll keep the 10% damage penalty. Because, balance, I guess. So first off, why don't we put like a little, a little backpack on Heavy's back, and it'll like light the Spy on fire when they backstab him. It would discourage the Spy from backstabbing the Heavy, which I'm pretty sure that's what Valve originally wanted. And I also decided, keep in the fire thing. Now, why would a thing of ammo on your back light you on fire? It's flammable bullets, man. I mean, it's crazy like that. Alright. So, see, on successful backstab, Spy is lit on fire, for 5 seconds. So, I mean, I think that's pretty fair. I mean, that's kind of what they were going for on the Hulong Heater, with the little ring around your feet, even though that's just a stupid, dumb little flame that no one cares about. I feel like there should be another penalty. So, what about, I mean, I know the go-to for that is usually just slower rev-up time. Rev-up time, I mean, that's kind of boring, isn't it? Well, whatever. This is just a rough idea. And, while we're at it, while we're going with the whole theme of, you can't be meleeed by spies, why not just add a 30% melee resistance? Just to, because right now, it seemed kind of incomplete when its only purpose was to slightly inconvenience spies. So why not add that 30% melee resistance and maybe melee crit resistance? Like melee, like if you get critted, it just does normal melee damage, right? Because then that would solve the problem of, if you're gonna get hit with a crit by a melee weapon, they're not gonna be Kritzkrieg. It's gonna be random. It's always random. So maybe it'll give you a little bit more reason to use the Hulong Heater. And the 30% melee resistance, who knows when that could come in handy. Like demo nights, a missed backstab on a face stab, that does a little less damage to you. So I think, and then on successful backstab, that's where the fire theme comes in. And, they get lit on fire. I think that that's pretty fair. It's pretty balanced. maybe. We could work with the downsides a little bit more, I think, if I were to spend a little more time on this. But this is, again, just a general idea. So, it's not that hard to make a weapon that, you know, isn't terrible. So that's just my final idea. Just something to think about. My point is, the Huolong heater could have been implemented much better, and I really feel like it deserves a buff, you know, after all these years of it being neglected, you know. Maybe give it a little something. So like with this, we could work with this. You know, you're better against demo knights, you're better against spies, and it doesn't completely give spies the middle finger too, because you know the Razorback. I mean, that's just, I don't like the Razorback, but that's for another time, my friends. But I'm gonna be honest, alright? Adding direct counters does not fix the problem, and it's not even close to fixing the problem. And from my personal, humble opinion, I don't like direct counters at all. They're just a big middle finger to whatever class it's supposed to counter. Especially the Natasha. Nobody likes the Natasha. Go home, Natasha. And besides, most of them don't even do their job properly. Like I explained with the Huolong heater. I mean, classes have counters for a reason. It keeps them in check from becoming too overpowered. And speaking of counters, Mr. Heavy Weapons Guy has plenty and plenty of counters. For example, Sniper and Spy can both make pretty quick work of an unsuspecting heavy. And he also has a ton of soft counters, like the Vac Medic that's on Bullet, and a Scout that knows how to double jump and won't run directly at a heavy. Seriously, why do you Scouts do that? You gotta move around, you know. And having counters doesn't cause any problems either, since you will always have a few counters, regardless of the class you're playing. The problem arises when the heavy can't do anything about these counters. But worry not, dear citizens, because Kaler Kai, famous YouTuber and cool guy, has a solution for all of you. So, fundamentally, TF2 is a mobility-based first-person shooter. You gotta move around a lot. It's just how the game works. And Heavy is a slow class, so we can't really escape from sticky situations easily. I mean, obviously, I'm not stupid, you know, it makes sense. You gotta move slowly to get his fat little body around. But I mean, every other class has some sort of ace up their sleeve, or some way to escape. The Scout is generally built for agility, while the Demo Man and Soldier can at least both blast jump despite being very slow on foot. And the Pyro has all sorts of tools for mobility, like the Power Jack, detonator jumps, and a jetpack for some godforsaken reason. The Engineer can blast jump with the Sentry Gun. It's pretty inefficient for getting out of bad situations, but I thought I'd at least mention it. The Medic has the Quick Fix and the Overdose, if that's your cup of tea. It's not my cup of tea, and I don't think it's anyone's cup of tea. It's a disgusting flavor of tea, but you know, if for some reason you like the Overdose, you go, fella. I'm judging you. The Spy has the Dead Ringer and Stalk Invisibility, which are both great for getting out of bad situations. And the Sniper doesn't necessarily need any sort of quick way out, since he can just kind of one-shot any class from any distance. And the only limit would be your skill level. If you're killed by some sort of power class of Sniper, then you're probably overextending anyway. Probably not as good as you think you are at Sniper. But don't worry. You'll get better one day, buddy. I believe in you. Just don't overextend. And so, this leaves only the Heavy, sad and alone. And if he gets cornered, his only hope is to spam that E button and hope that his precious little medic girlfriend will come to the rescue. Tough luck, pal. And even then, you'll probably just end up getting your medic killed too. So, good job. You not only got yourself killed, but you dragged your medic down with you. You're a real team player. But, you know, I have a few ideas on how to fix this. I'm just great like that. I'm just built different. So, the key to making Heavy more viable is mobility. I'm not saying give him a jetpack. But, you know, it wouldn't hurt to give him a jetpack. I mean, he deserves it more than Pyro anyway. Why does he need a jetpack? He can already... He's got strong legs. He could probably jump. And if my boy Heavy were to get a jetpack, and maybe make Heavy's jetpack have shorter flight time than the thermal thruster, but, you know, just long enough to get him out of any situation that he might find to not be within his favor. He can just skedaddle, you know, pull the old Joestar tactic. And if we increase the cooldown, I think we have a solid new secondary for the heavy. But if that's too unoriginal and your standards are so high that you need an original weapon every single update, then maybe you can give him a shorter version of the grappling hook. You know, the kind of grappling hooks you see on those trade servers and in Manpower that nobody plays. And maybe give it a cooldown per use. And another idea that I've had is maybe give him some sort of small dash, similar to the Shield of Cthulhu in Terraria. Or maybe even a minigun with a recoil so heavy that it'll shoot him into the air short distance when he fires it at his feet. That's a little outlandish, but you know. But I mean, come on, how cool would it be to see a heavy flying through the air, raining down his judgment and wrath and fury upon the mortals who dare try to capture his point? Or, you know, maybe just a little more mobility, you know. These are only a few ideas, but honestly, I really do believe that giving Heavy just a little more mobility would make dealing with his counters, you know, just a bit easier on him. And also, a quick thought, maybe give Heavy a subclass. And I think giving Heavy mains an extra option might make Heavy a much more engaging class. But that's just an idea. A game idea. Hey, that was funny, right? Yeah, no. Please validate my jokes with your laughter. That brings so much joy into my life. Please? Please? I just want Heavy to be a class that more people can enjoy. Because as it stands, Heavy is completely overshadowed by other classes that do his job but better. And for the class that's on the cover of the game, he really doesn't get much love. I'm really hoping that the Heavy update will fix at least some of these problems. But knowing Valve, I'll keep my expectations in check. As long as they put forth the effort to improve the Heavy class as a whole, and don't just give him a few new garbage weapons and call it a day, I think it'll be a step in the right direction. So, what do you think? I mean, this is the first kind of video I've made like this. Maybe I'll make more in the future, maybe not, I don't know, I'll figure it out, don't pressure me. But, you know, feedback would be appreciated. If you want to leave me feedback in the comments, you know, you'll be a real Chad. But, yeah, just tell me what your thoughts are, and, happy gaming, fellas, and may Lord Gaiden be with you.